This idea of Renaissance, the Harlem Renaissance. Renaissance, that word, it means to be reborn.
Yes.
To come forward again. And it's a theme that runs through the course of the African people's history. That we're constantly trying to figure out how to become better. How do we rebirth ourselves? There's a passage that comes from the Hosea. I'm going to ask you to turn to page 118. In the Hosea, this translation of these ancient Nile Valley writings. And on page 118, passage number 1. This is from what Kariga translated as the Book of Rising and Transformation. See, that theme of rising and transformation is not just about Easter.
Right now.
This has been around for thousands of years before the Judeo-Christian tradition. But this idea of rising, I'm going to talk about that just for a little bit today. But this passage, if we can read it together, passage number 1 from the Book of Rising and Transformation. Raise yourself, O vindicated one. Run, for you are exceedingly strong. You shall sit at the hands of the powers of heaven. You shall do that which Cyrus, the risen Savior, did in the mansion of the prince, which is in the sacred city of Rome. Receive your due honor. Your foot will not be obstructed in heaven, nor will you be opposed on earth. For you are the spirit who knew the mother of heaven bore, and Nephthys, your sister spirit, suckled, and they have put you together. Arise in your strength and do what you did before. For you are a spirit. Arise, O spirit, exceedingly strong, adorned as a great wild bull. You will not be found anywhere you walk, and your foot will not be obstructed anywhere you wish to be. Ashe. Make that personal. Because these ancestors were writing about us. They were writing about us thousands of years ago, anticipating that we would need this wisdom. And they said, raise yourself. They didn't say wait for somebody else to come save you. It said, raise yourself. Ashe, raise yourself. Run, sit, do. Be that energy, that spirit. And it clearly says, you are spirit.
Yeah.
Now, if you believe anything that the ancestors have sent us, any wisdom that they taught us, any lessons that have come down, this is the number one lesson. You are spirit.
Yeah.
Nobody can ever tell you that you're something other than that if you believe in this African tradition. And this tradition comes up from a lot of different places. Even Dr. King was quoted as saying today, this is back in 1968, he said today our survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenge of change. Implicit in his quote is this idea of transformation.
Yes.
That we can't stay the same and progress. That we can't think our children can have the same upbringings that we had and think that they can progress in the world that they're inheriting. So the African tradition, a fundamental value of our tradition is transformation and change. To be reborn again. To be renewed again. You know, my friends and family around the country, and those of you who have the same friends, if you're on social media, you've probably gotten some happy Easter, happy Resurrection Day, happy, something today. And so our families are out doing what they do. We're here doing what we do. And there's no debate. Because see, my thing is like, if you're a good Christian, and you are conscious of your identity as an African, I got no problem with you. Because see, a good Christian follows the life and teachings of Jesus the Christ. Jesus of Nazareth. Whatever you believe about that story, even if you think of it as totally symbolic, that person who fed the hungry, that's an African value. To clothe the naked, that's an African value. You see it in our text thousands of years before Jesus of Nazareth lived. Which means that it was a consistent set of values and core beliefs that African people had before and after the birth of Jesus the Christ. Some would say that he was an African. He spent his upbringing in Kenya. So if you spent your upbringing at Ileomo Day, no matter how you spent your time here, some Africanness going to rub off on you. So whether he was a Jewish rabbi, which is what he was, out of Palestine, we know he was not blue-eyed and blonde hair, because that phenotype didn't exist in that part of the world back then. So let's be clear about that. He probably a dark-skinned, swarthy-looking brother, who got persecuted for trying to heal the people. But however you think about that story, however you think about Resurrection Day, and I've noticed that my Christian friends have stopped talking about Easter because, see, they know that Easter is a pagan holiday that had to do with fertility and some European stuff, and Easter egg hunts come out of that tradition. So we're not going to go into all of that today. But even Christians have changed. My Christian friends say Happy Resurrection Day. So they want to get clearer about what their tradition is. And I appreciate that. Just like we need to be clear about what our tradition is. And our tradition comes from at least 4 valley systems. You've heard me say this before. They come from at least 4 valley people. The Nile Valley. We can say Ma'at, Kemet, but think about it. It's based on the river. That's right. That long river that runs throughout the heart of Africa and empties out into the Mediterranean. But that river produced the people that produced pyramids, that produced mathematics systems, that produced systems of economics, that produced systems of ethics and philosophy and the sciences and the arts. You think about the level of genius of their arts, that they can inscribe words on granite and have it last for thousands of years. That they can paint in blue and red and lapis lazuli and still that color will hold. I painted my house 10 years ago. I had to get my house repainted. The paint lasts for about 8 or 9 years at best. You can open up a tomb in Kemet and see the color that was put on the walls 3,000 years ago. That's a certain kind of science. That's a certain kind of, material science. What we call material science now, right? A certain kind of civil engineering that allows you to build structures without mortar, make them fit together, and have them still stand up. You get a bookcase from IKEA and barely can get it to put together and stand up for more than a few years. I got stuff around my house falling apart after a couple of years, right? But think about our ancestors. This was part of their Nile Valley tradition. We go to the Niger Valley that produced Ifa. It produced that tradition that then gets passed into the New World as Candomblé, Santeria, Lukumi. Same idea. That river system, that Niger River Valley, where they worship Oshun and Yemaya and Oya and Shango. It's all part of one big system that comes out of those valleys. Go to the Congo, where Malanga Kaskalor was from. Go to the Congo, where Obenga was from. Go to the Congo and look at the river Congo and think about the traditions, the Nkisi tradition that comes from there. But don't feel left out.
Come on now.
Because your ancestors who came on that tragic transatlantic voyage ended up in places like the Mississippi Valley. See, the Mississippi Valley is the bedrock of what I call Afro-Baptists.
Come on, teach good.
Like, let's think about it. The survivals that we had in our tradition that were African practices that got a veneer, a sort of cover of Christianity. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So when you think about, most of us, if you're old enough, your ritual on Easter Sunday, as it was called back then, or your ritual on Resurrection Sunday, same thing that the Shanaka did this morning. She got up and went to Allen Temple for sunrise service. Sunrise service is an African thing.
Come on now.
I was in West Africa several years ago for Tabaski. It's a celebration at the end of Ramadan. It's a couple of weeks after the Eid, and they celebrate it very much the same way that we celebrate Easter. Everybody gets new clothes. When you were growing up, if you just got a hat, like Bobby Sidney said here right there, is all you got was a new hat. That's okay. That's all right. Something new, right? Some of us got a new dress. Shanaka went out yesterday because she wanted to go to church with her mom over at Allen Temple today. She got a church lady hat with the little veil thing going on and rolling on there. You get a new hat. You get a new suit. Some of us had to endure our parents making us clothes that we wasn't crazy about, but we had to wear them. And my friends was looking at me like, wow. Like, really? Your mama made you wear that?
Got shiny faces, too.
What's that?
Shiny faces.
Absolutely. Shiny shoes, some patent leather shoes for the girls, some little mini Stacey Adams for the boys. But in Tabaski, my friend Hodge, who's now an ancestor, bless his soul, he took me around that day, and everybody had new clothes on. Even the poorest families. People made sure that you might get a little remnant from the tailor shop. Make a little something, because everybody was supposed to get new clothes that day. The other thing that happened was they break bread together. They sacrifice, every household that can afford it sacrifices a ram. And it was interesting to watch your Hodge do this, because, now think about this. If you're in your Sunday best, you're in your nicest clothes, and now you're slaughtering a sheep and blood gets on you. And I was thinking like, man, you messing your clothes up. He said, bro, that's making my clothes better. He said, this is the energy. So we got this whole thing about blood and all that. He said, no, this is the energy. This is the ashe of the sheep coming into my family. He was totally happy with it.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. And I'm thinking about like, when I had my little suit on at Easter, you know, I'm trying not to get hurt on it, you know, because this suit got to last till Christmas. You know, your Easter clothes is basically your rest of the year church clothes. I'm just reminding you, right? But in that Afro-Baptist tradition, sunrise service, I looked forward to it as a kid. As hard as it was getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, for me, that was the most spiritual time of the year. That was the period of time when I felt like my spirit got enlightened. My spirit ascended. My spirit as a little kid. Because everybody around me was talking about the same thing. Ascendance, transformation. Telling the story of Jesus dying on that Good Friday, which as a kid, I was like, why they call it Good Friday? I don't understand that part, but you know, but then, you know, that idea of, you know, being in the tomb, that's an Asarian idea. That's a Nile Valley idea. For thousands of years, we told the story about Asar being cut into pieces, cast out into the Nile Valley, out into the land, and having a set that regenerative energy bring all the pieces back together. That's a profound story. So Jesus in that story, all the pieces had to come back together for him to leave the tomb, to be that model, to be that symbol. I had no problem with symbolism. Now, when people get into the literal stuff, then, you know, we got to have a different kind of conversation.
Right.
But that's your belief. And if your belief system makes you a better person, I'm all for it. So that